moving on, feel support though. Like, you devotion, and I don't understand, like all these people, all these good people, you know, annihilated and stuff. It's hilarious. Like, oh, whoa, I didn't think I was that freaking important, but okay, thanks for the heads up. And then you just sign after sign from the, you walk around with that cup of love. Not that cup of love. Not that cup of love. But your star energy is like, I don't know, you're actually a really good, like, kind of channeler. You're able to channel different energies. King of Swords, though, like, you're really discerning on your knowing. Straight away, when you recognize you're being fucked with, give them a wink, move on. You know, like Queen of Swords, that is. King of, you need to, yeah, trying to make sure, you know, may you know what it feels like. I don't know, that's as mean as I can possibly be, because the people with that love in their hearts and that light energy who are feeling lonely and isolated and blah, blah, blah. I mean, don't. I get the feeling a lot of you really love your alone time anyway. But just know you're not. It's black and white. Black and white in your energy there. Doesn't matter what they do, you'll always be that one step or 10 steps ahead, because you know, you just get told by all your guidance systems exactly what's going on, and you're like, okay, I'll alchemize it. But it's kind of lower energies than you need to be dealing with at the moment. Like, it was a real eye-opener when I realizing it, because I think you would relate. Like, it's last year or the year before, my little niece, who doesn't like me, thinks she's better than me, and she is. She's a champion, you know. Like, these guys live in the city and they are very well to do, but she had a broken heart, and it was it manifested as anorexia, and it was really depression, like deep depression. How do I know? Because I've had it before. I've been into spiritual warfare my entire life. So when I was younger, oh well, it's actually happened to me twice. I've had to bring myself back from that point of, and be like, no fucks given, I'm going to eat food. But what you actually have to do is you got to rewire the neural pathways in your brain. And that was what was required with her. And I was doing a uni degree, getting my psychology degree. I got kicked out of the university after I outed this on social media. Like, I get it. Don't mess with the establishment. Don't speak up and say the truth. But they were trying to treat her as if, oh, she doesn't like her body. No, well, technically, yes, she didn't like her body, but she's got such a gentle, beautiful heart that she saw the world for what it is. And seriously, there are a bunch of horrible people out there. There's so much. And if she's one of the Fifth Element characters, which she is, you're disheartened. This girl was disheartened, so she needed new neural pathways. They took her to the happiest place on earth, and she grew those neural pathways, and she's happy. You know what I mean? So interference comes through, but someone will be heartbroken that you're live streaming. But anyway, going back to her, well, she was heartbroken and trying to treat her, saying, oh, she doesn't like her body. No, she doesn't like the world. So, and he took her to the happiest place on earth, rewired those neural pathways. And the way that, if you're feeling depression or anything like that, the way to regrow new brain cells and put you know, because there's so much subconscious wiring and everything, we get so much of it happen. We've got to be able to change that. My energy shifted. But, all right, live stream. To be able to rewire these neural pathways, give your body shocks. So after you've had a hot shower, a 30-second cold shower, but while those neural pathways are being grown, you're at that point to be listening to a frequency music or just giving yourself all your affirmations, you know, of what you'd like your subconscious to know, because that's the time to be building it and putting in those happiness things. I didn't know back when I was 19, 20 that that was the thing, that you could do that. So I did mine by going to 2 tribes. You know, I got introduced to quite a dark scene, dark seedy scene in the state that I live in, more underground kind of going out and stuff like that. But it brought me back. It brought me back into, what do they call it? Feel the love generation, MDMA. But all that's really required is you've got to be able to find that joy and that stuff within life again. You can bring yourself back from it and want to put food in your mouth. And there's plenty of ways to be able to do that. High Priestess, business, generational wealth, just the idea of you sleep well at night, but the other people that don't want to see you do well, devastates them, that you're never going to have to give up because of your divine protection, because of all the energies that are around you, supportive of what you're doing. And you'll find it's when you ask for the little things and they come through and you're like, wow. Like, listen to the birds in the background at the moment. That's what I'm talking. You got full Empress energy or Emperor energy. You just, even if you are an Emperor, you've just got that nurturing kind of safe energy to be in. Don't let anyone make you feel ashamed of that. I think it's disappointing to have been kicked out of my uni degree and having aspects of my income slowed down. But these things only happen so you level up. And sorry if I can see somebody in the chat there. I am not going to be interacting. Sorry. It's just, I appreciate you being there, but anyway, dreams. You got some dreams. Kindred spirits. Oh, that's beautiful. Then if it is a kindred spirit, you would respect that, yeah, I get hassled so much that I'm just not prepared to allow the interference in my energy field at the moment. So that if you understand that, you know what you know. Harmony. There we go. You understand. Healing, freedom. Just know, and remember to ask for that healing if you're needing it, and how to go through healing is releasing the emotions associated with whatever you're feeling. Like, express it. I really am mind blown though that calling, like, okay, I'm struggling to get my words out. Interference. Yeah. When I assisted and said, well, you're not treating somebody who doesn't like their body, you're treating a mental condition, like it's mentally somebody shut down within. And I was studying my psychology degree at the time, and I got kicked out within 4 weeks of me posting that. It was very, very disappointing, and I guess it threw me off track. But do you know what? If you've got a goal, if you've got a mission, it doesn't matter. Like, you'll always revert back to it. So you might be redirected, but you're always going to get where you were meant to be anyway. And people can carry on about, oh, we're destiny swapping and this and that. No, you look like a fucking idiot, really. And stay in your own lanes. Everybody else will. And it's all just perception, isn't it? I like that. Moving forward fiercely and wish people the best. You know what I mean? Like, you can't help but, even in these false kind of energies and the false kind of, and you say it because you're watching, you know, other people and the way they do their grind, the way they associate with people, as long as you're not shitting on anybody else, I don't see why there's a problem with it. But the need to shit on somebody else, I don't, each to their own. Oh, I always knew there'd be like an unbelievable sense of freedom when I was like, I don't need to put a filter on because I just don't care. I got the self-love anyway. And reflection on all those times that you've had to just be patient with yourself with that. Like, oh, can't be seen out in public without my filters on the camera. Like, why? Because it makes you feel good, yeah? Your wolf spirit. And the butterfly behind the glass. The butterfly behind the glass. That was an energy that, yeah, lioness. Cut through it. So, is there anything that I need to touch on for my divine collective? And I just wanted to say, not on this channel so much, but my other channel, it goes gangbusters. So I'm really appreciative of the support from you guys. So getting people mad about you to gang up on you, you're protected regardless. There's a main entity energetically attacked, walked away. Oh, look into your Vedic astrology as well. It seems that you're more primordial, your actual. So when the whole thing was created, it was created by Om, like it brought all into being. Vedic astrology for primordial kind of older souls, which have been, you know, coming into the planet. Like, you'll find majority of children, if they've got parents that are, you know, baby boomer age, your souls are actually older than their souls, if that makes sense. Like, you've lived more lifetimes, because this pivotal time in the changing of the calendars of going from the Piscean age of darkness into the age of Aquarius, which is actually, you know, the end of Kali Yuga and the beginning of the Golden Age. So the war has been raging since about, what, the 60s. And if you have a look at the occult aspect to it, say, I don't know what's so special about Australia, but there is something pretty special about Australia. The Beatles came and all of that energy was created with the screaming and everything like that. I don't think the Beatles knew that they were pawns in the game to create all that energy. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But they were able to pretty much, because the age of Aquarius has been trying to come through since the 1960s. I guess that was Yeah, the 1960s, but they were able, the occultists on the planet were able to push that back at that time because of the mass energy harvest and everything created. And I think they've tried to recreate that with a concept. I won't bother saying her name, you know, she's part of the big crowd. But anyway, they came to Melbourne, a flying concert, and you saw on the news, they were like, oh, just the energy and the emotion that these girls are expressing. We think it's Melbourne because Melbourne back in, when were we, you know, not able to come out of our houses, but we did anyway. When was it? 2020, 2021, 22. They were saying all the girls in Melbourne are going so nuts and screaming so loudly because they're just letting out all, been through kind of those, I don't know what happened there, but from Poland, you know, from different parts of the world, and they're like, no, this is how it starts, guys. Like, we've got to stand up for ourselves. And you had them trying to stand up for us, so champions. Anyway, where was I at before the stream got interrupted? Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, so the Wheel of Fortune's turned into the Age of Aquarius now, because whatever was attempted by this occult witch leader that was getting all those emotions from the Melburnians that had been locked up for a few months. Really, it was a reset time for spiritual people and non-spiritual people. What it did was it woke us up. It brought us a lot of clarity. I shed some really bad people from my life in that time, you know, and would I have been able to if we hadn't have had that shutdown, kind of? Would things be different now? I don't know. But I am very much glad to not, you know, have people in my life that are stabbing me in the back at the same time as smiling in my face. I mean, I've still kind of got those people, but it's happening less and less. Got to have compassion for them, because with this whole Age of Aquarius and us being here at this time, it has come in, like the energy tree all the way to 20 before the energy started coming back in again. And it was a union that's begun in 2020, and it is the divine feminine coming back along with the age of, you can see that there's so much anger within male and female, and a lot of jealousy between the sexes, and you know, but all of that is just, it's outside influences. It's not necessarily who we are. What I found really disappointing is, like, people are so caught up on being inharmonious when harmony and just, I see the problems of, like, men venting and being furious that, you know, a woman's taken 70% of the house, or this and that. Like, why is money so finite to everybody? You know, like, it's like, oh, we've got to have this one killed off. We'll stock this one, and when they die, we'll take the insurance policy, and we, you know, like, all ridiculousness stuff. Absolutely, like, evil ways to make money. It's not really going to work in the golden age. And expressing it in purity provides sanctuary, but it's also, I guess what I'm trying to get across is there needs to be respect between the sexes, and the divine feminine is definitely here for it, but it's like the disrespect that's been created by media, by even paying attention to the news and being inundated by it. You know, it's just, They were calling everybody Karen, women that were standing up and going, this isn't right. I want to go into Bunnings without a mask. You wonder if some of them were paid. But it was really a test. That test in Melbourne was really a test to see if the men were going to stand up for the women. Turned out they didn't. They stood up for themselves when they weren't going to be earning money. But as far as a Karen sitting on the beach going, oh, I'm not moving, like they let the police have them. They didn't care, you know. But it's about caring for each other. Like, just because I'm not you and you're not me doesn't mean that I'd ever be the kind of person that would let you drown. Maybe I was 20 years ago. You know, if we're out in the sea and you needed rescuing, I would be that person to help, you know. And we all say we would, but there were a bunch of men in the surf that day that I didn't help that little kid. And we were the only two that got pulled in, but there were heaps of guys surfing out there with us. So I do just want to make that point that it's not fair that the disrespect of each other has got to be due. Like, I understand that men can't live in hell either and walk with enchantment and, you know, I don't know. I don't know how to explain this, but it's got to change. Like, society itself has really effed up love relationships for us. I think we need to transition back into that respectful kind of situation. Faith. Also, some of you are isolated to the point whereas if you do find part of your soul tribe, what happens is the powers that be that have tried to keep you isolated most of your life. Hi guys, hi. Can I have yeah, these kind of powers, the darker powers, have wanted you isolated all your life. So when you make any connections, they attack that connection. It looks like the attack comes from you. So they're like, oh, that's just bad news. I don't want any of that energy around me. And then you're alone again. And you're like, but that's an energy I recognize, blah, blah, blah. I am shadow self. Surrender. Yeah, I didn't actually realize it was a thing until a soul that I actually came to the earth with, he was arguing or something when we were trying to come in. Like, he was pissed already, didn't want to be back, you know. I guess I'm talking that soul trap kind of thing. And I told a friend of me, which I didn't realize at the time she was a friend of me. I thought she could be a better friend, but I didn't think she was. Because I wouldn't be that person. Why waste your time? I would so rather be alone. And 2 or 3 years on, I am happier being alone than being around false shit. You know, like, if there's no one genuine in my life, that's cool. I'm sure it'll all and if there's no one genuine in your life, I'm sure it'll all happen within divine timing. You know, and judgment's been called on this type of thing of not being able to trust that the people coming into your life haven't been sent there, you know, to mess with you, which sounds ridiculous, but if you have a look around and your last partner was a narcissist, and when you do have good people coming into your life, they get pushed back, you know, and yeah, have grace for what's happening, but also know that universal laws are going to sort that out. And a lot of the loopholes, and that's something that's coming along with the golden age of Aquarius, a lot of the loopholes previously have been so taken advantage of by people in their shadow selves, people who are sliding around on their bellies, which is 46 and 2. And we've been sliding around on our bellies as well. But the difference, I think, with somebody who's able to not just go in and attack another person for no reason except that I'm part of a group that thinks I should, is you've actually gone within and found those parts of yourself and gone, they're beautiful anyway. They're not nice, but they're beautiful. And I'm going to love them anyway. And when you can kind of reintegrate like that, I guess it's a good thing. But you'll notice that if you're tapped into what I'm saying on an energetic level, your relationships have been narcissistic, and you may have been, and you've got that purity within, but leveled you up and pushed you into being the beautiful person that you are, you could never have so much self-control, so much self-love if you hadn't experienced everything you've experienced. And everything will happen with divine timing. Be assured of that. There's an innocence to you. And there's freedom within that. And give grace for what's happening, because you don't need to lift a finger. You don't need to do anything. With the full moon coming up, there are traps being set and people trying to play stupid games. They're just going to win stupid prizes, you know. But if you get asked to bake some food or do anything on a massive scale this week, or something kind of out of the ordinary, don't do it. Just be like, oh, no, oh, not able to right now, but I'll get back to you, and get back to them after the full moon. Energies have dissipated. Like, I'm prepared to have perspective and say, okay, there's people that were out front of my house that came up to my front door first. They sent 2 people up to my front door to, so I welcomed them. They did get welcomed into my energy initially, although the guy had his hand behind his back. But anyway, they could have all just been congregating out front of my house, because there's a big, they had another street to walk up, and they were all just having a rest there at the exact same time that the full moon came in. Like, anything could have happened. And I'm prepared to acknowledge that maybe it's not what I thought it was. Although I am entitled to express what I thought it was. And considering I, what would you say? No, they were unrecognizable. So if it was the clergy out the front of my house doing what they've been doing to me for years, I think God will take care of that. And peace be with anybody who felt the need to do it, or just good on you for having a drink out the front, and that's fine. Because I got faith in my protection. So anything that has been happening, not anymore. Although I do see ever since I've spoken up about it, like, everything's doubling down. Like, the attacks have started quick. But I think if you stay in that kind of playful energy and just go, yeah, it's happening, give them grace, you're going to be energetically protected. So know that, and watch your thoughts, and have gratitude for everything that has happened in your life, because you wouldn't be where you are now, and you wouldn't have had this awakening if you hadn't experienced all that you've experienced. So you've got to be grateful for it. Centering in your own energy is going to be important. Now, I think I'm getting towards that end of the day where I've got stuff I've got to get done, but know that there is so much compassion and so much love for who you are and what you bring, and don't stop for anyone. Like, you bring enchantment to life, and if you've been under any enchantments, call for God, the universe, to come in and assist you in moving through your emotions, kindred spirits, and bringing in your kindred spirits, and being able to trust that when you find them, it's right. But having that self-love and integrating that shadow part of your personality will mean that you're not going to want to attack other people, because it's like you see a little kid will turn around and get beaten by a bigger kid, and then to make up for that, he's going to hit a littler kid, you know, because he wants to take back that piece of power that he just lost when he got hit by the bigger kid. Oh, it's no different like that. Oh, I've been no different like that in my life, you know, until you come to a point where you know you don't have to hurt back anymore. You know you don't have to be in the fight anymore. You've got faith that you're above that fight. And then you can have that innocence, that freedom, and that healing will just come through. It'll stream through. If anybody wants a Reiki attunement, go over to Abby Normal. It's many years ago that she did it now, but it's still for free on her site. And don't just try. I mean, I don't want to get on and go, I've uncovered this and that. Those people were unraveling themselves, so I don't really need to say anything, but check in with your guides if you should be watching certain Reikis and things like that, because not everybody is, you know, doing it for your best interest. So just always ask for discernment from your guides. And if you find you're getting, you know, moved out of, you're always divinely protected and guided anyway. Just make sure that you're activating your angels to make sure that that happens. Like, because you've got to say, they've got this thing of free will. We've all got free will. So if we don't say, my free will says, please intervene where necessary to make my life the best it can be, they don't know that you want, or they can't act on that, and they will, and they have in extreme situations. Say, I was on St Kilda Road in Melbourne, and the way it works is you've got your car parking's on the side, but then it's got a bike lane, then it's got 2 lanes of cars in both directions. So there's a little medium strip. I hope that explains it well enough. Anyway, parked out front of an office building I was working in, and I couldn't open my door, and then a bike flew past, and then a taxi flew past, and it was wet. All 3 of us would have been in disaster that day. But something happened that was the protection. For years I was like, oh, I'm so, you know, my angels did it. I went into like a deep shamanic kind of healing and went and saw my my younger self. It was my older self that kept that door shut and saved all of us. Sometimes you're saving yourself. There doesn't have to be anybody outside yourself. Have faith that yes, many things could have happened in your life and have happened in your life, but whatever's happened has always been for your highest good. And it was really like to come out of that healing journey that I went through and just went, wow, that was me saving me. There's a gentleness in that, and that happened when I was, I don't know, being a wreck in my 19, 20, you know, being 19, 20, 21. It wasn't really until I turned 25. I thought I was an eater, and I was actually could have gone the path of a real Jezebel kind of horrible person. But meeting somebody who ate that part of me up, like ate it like for breakfast. He was so dark and just would not put up with me having any emotion. It really, like, wow, to get put under such oppression when you were the oppressor. Sorry to all my boyfriends past, except possibly my first one, because your first one breaks your heart, and then, you know, that's when you get led down the horrible path. But it makes sense to me now why I met him, was to go, wow, I was able to actually find that part of myself that came to the earth in the first place, going, I'm here to spread love and light. That's all I've got, you know? And then you find all the other parts of yourself. I don't hate who I was. I accept who I was and see that it's all a reflection of everything that society is. And that's why you can see the beauty, the thread that runs through life when you're able to kind of accept the crappy parts about yourself, be apologetic if you need to, or whatever you need to do. All I know is if I hadn't have gone through that pain, if I hadn't have had, I reckon he's a dark empath. He's a very impressive person. And he absolutely saved me by taking that narcissistic spirit that was placed on me, and he ate it and he became it. And I don't know if he already was it, or I think he was, because he was already arguing with, he already had stuff going on with perhaps other relationships that he'd been in previously. So I'm not going to take full responsibility for it, but I'm forever grateful. And that's what I wanted to say about men and women. He may not like me for being me. I might not like him for being him, but I've got a healthy respect for who he was. And I was never the type of person that wanted to take half a house or anything like that. But apparently he, he thought I was. And both of us ended up with nothing out of that. So congratulations to whoever filtered that information through to him, that all women are this and all women are that. And that's the thing, money is so finite to everybody. Money is like the be all and end all. There is so much more beyond this life, and some of us are just dripping in spiritual gold from other realms, and that gets taken advantage of as well. But bring yourself into harmony with yourself and just accept life as it is, as it comes, and breathe it all in and love it all out. I hope I haven't sworn in this one at all, because I choose not to. All right, have a good day. No idea. Amateur hour here.